Hi everyone, I'm Laura. I'm here at my homestead kitchen and wanted to show you guys how to make a stew. So I'm going to be using a bear roast that I had in the freezer, and today was a super busy day for me. We had to go out all morning and I have a bunch of work I have to do this afternoon. So when I know I'm going to have a really busy day, I know I'm going to make stew because it is so fast and easy. You just prep your stuff, get it in the oven, and by the time you're ready for supper, it's ready. So it's a little bit after lunch, and so I'm gonna put my stew in the oven now, and it's gonna cook until supper time. Then I just have to pull it out and make my gravy. So first things first, I have my cast iron pan preheating. So I'm just gonna take out my bear roast. You can use any type of meat you want. You could even use a chicken or a beef roast, pork loin. So all I'm doing here is I'm just searing the outside. So we just want to get it nice and seared on all the sides. Nice and browned, and it's gonna hold in the moisture and make sure our roast doesn't dry out. So I would recommend doing this with beef or pork. If you do a chicken, obviously you don't have to do that. Just throw the chicken in as is. You can see the bear roast has a nice layer of fat on top. This bear roast has quite a bit of fat, natural fat in it. If you did something leaner, you could always coat your pan with a little bit of olive oil or butter. I'm just trying to get these edges brown to seal in the moisture. All it takes. So I'm gonna get it ready to put in my roasting pan now. I turned off that burner. So we're just gonna nestle that roast right in the middle of our vegetables. Kate is getting our potatoes and carrots cut up. So the only other thing we're gonna add, we have our bear roast, we have our carrots and potatoes that Kate's cutting, and I'm just gonna cut these onions in half. These onions, I'm doing a bunch here. You can see 6 in total. I just want them for my gravy. So I'm gonna cook them in with the roast and we'll blend them up for our gravy later. So all I do is just cut them in half. I try to put them near the roast so that I don't lose them. Because once they've been cooking for quite a few hours, they just kind of turn to mush, so they can get lost. I find this roast and stew that we're making is such like a comfort food. It's super wintry out today. It's like, it was minus 26 this morning. Snowy, it's cold. So this stew is just like such a comfort food, and it just warms you up. It feels like, kind of just feels like your grandma is giving you a hug. All the kids really like it too. They never complain about it. It's a nice hearty meal. Ed's been out working all day in the cold, so I know he'll appreciate something warm and hearty, meat and potatoes. and also just a super cheap meal. Obviously this doesn't cost much, especially since we have the meat from a bear we harvested. Yeah, I would recommend, like, I know beef can be expensive, so if you want to do a pork loin or chicken instead of a beef roast, or if you can get some cheap cuts of meat on sale, cooking them for many hours at a low temperature is going to make them tender. So just use whatever you have available. It doesn't have to be expensive. Okay, last onion. Okay, you're such a good cutter. Thanks for helping me.
I'm good at writing oranges.
Okay, that's my 6 onions in there. I'm feeling like I want a bit more variety of vegetables in today. I most of the time always just do this, but I have this cabbage that should get used up, so I'm just gonna put some of this, probably half of it in. If you've never had roasted cabbage, it's so good.
I have an orange.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna use half of this, get the core out of the middle. My chickens will love me for it. All of my food scraps I send out to the chicken coop. And let me tell you, I have happy chickens. They lay me a lot of eggs. Okay. I love when you're doing a stew because it's so simple. Like, you just kind of chop stuff up roughly and throw it in. You can put whatever vegetables you wanted in here. Turnip, broccoli, beans, I don't know, whatever you want. So to make my gravy and broth and just get everything soaking in a good flavor, I put 1 package of onion soup mix in 4 cups of water. You definitely don't have to do that if you don't feel good about using onion soup mix. I know there can be some bad chemicals and stuff, but just for a quick meal, I don't feel bad about just throwing this in. And then I just put about half a cup of soy sauce, and it makes a nice flavor in here. So that's just water, 1 package onion soup mix, and half a cup of soy sauce. And I'm just gonna pour that over top of all of these vegetables and roast. The last thing I'm gonna add is just salt and pepper. I'm just gonna pepper this. You can put however much pepper you like. We have a lot of carrots because the kids are obsessed with them. And a good layer of mineral salt on there. And that's it. Kate's gonna finish that carrot. We'll put the lid on and we're gonna put that in to bake at 300 for about 4 to 5 hours. And then we'll pull it out and make our gravy. So we'll show you that soon.
Here we go.
Okay, let's get this lid on and we'll get it in the oven. So that's gonna bake at 300 for 4 to 5 hours. Hey, so it's 5 o'clock. So I'm gonna take the stew out of the oven and make our gravy, and then supper is gonna be ready. This actually smells so good in the house. Looks awesome. So I'm gonna very carefully drain off my juice into here. This is like my least favorite part because it's heavy and it's hot. You literally don't have to make gravy, but everyone in my family loves gravy, so I think the extra step is worth it for us. Find my onions and put them in the blender for the gravy. So I am a big fan of this. This is glucomannan. It's super healthy for you, has 0 carbs or anything like that. So I use it as a thickener instead of cornstarch or flour. You have to be careful with it though, because if you use too much, it can have kind of a slimy texture. So definitely takes a bit of experience to get used to it. I'm gonna put in 1.5 teaspoons of that, and that's it, and we're gonna blend it. I'm gonna just turn it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna let that sit for 1 minute. And while that's sitting, I'm just gonna take out my meat and put it on a cutting board to cut it. Okay, so let's take our meat out. And we're gonna cut it. Sometimes if I have the meat in longer, it is actually a lot more tender than this, and it kind of just falls apart. This only ended up being in the oven for about 4 hours. I was a little bit late getting it in, but I'm sure it's still gonna be delicious, and all of our vegetables are cooked, and this is pretty tender. And game meat is always a bit different too than your average store-bought stuff that you get. You could do this with venison, moose, whatever you want. Okay, so I'm gonna put this back in my roasting pan, and when everyone's ready, we'll have some supper. Okay, that's been sitting for a minute, so I'm just gonna blend it again. The glucomannan is a bit different, so it just needs time to kind of absorb the water. Okay, that is it. Always be careful when you're blending very hot things. So there's our gravy. You could make it a bit thicker than this, but we all like it like this. Well, thanks so much for watching today's video about how to make your own bear stew or any type of stew that you want. Super fast meal for busy days. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe.